Hey, thank y'all for joining me. This is Kelli, bringing you some more life management nuggets from the Mental and Emotional Resource Center here in Memphis, Tennessee, also called Mercy, where we teach people, hopefully, to go from surviving to thriving. We want to learn how to thrive. If you followed me, you know that I'm a big advocate of working with and helping people that are survivors of traumatic situations. And after going through traumatic situations, we often end up believing negative things about ourselves. I'm not a big believer in asking people what's wrong with them. My question is always, what happened to you? I'm excited that I have a live audience here tonight. And I think everybody in this room, and even you included, we've had things to happen to us. And when things happen to us, I think we get really afraid to continue this journey of life. I don't think anybody wants to walk home by themselves. I certainly don't want to walk home by myself. So we're all walking home together. The things that happened to us, a lot of things we had no control over, a lot of things we didn't ask for, we didn't want, somehow they still wounded us and caused us to believe that things like we're not good enough, we're unworthy, it was our fault. And those negative things, once they hit us at our core, we begin to make decisions from those things. I think a big reason that we stay in survival and we don't know how to thrive is because we don't know how to set boundaries. And for any of us, if we have chaos in our lives, that's because we have no boundaries. What are boundaries? Boundaries basically is the imaginary line that we draw around ourselves, and it helps us to maintain and protect our bodies, our minds, and our emotions from the behavior and demands of other people. Survivors of traumatic situations don't have a clear line of what boundaries are. People walk all over us. They treat us any kind of way. And we do that hoping that we'll get the love and attention that we respect. Oftentimes, we do get it, but the respect drops when people can treat us any kind of way because we leave part of us at their disposal, trying to please them, trying to make them happy. So I'm going to invite my audience in. Y'all with me so far?
Yes.
Great. Boundaries help us to provide a framework, and it keeps us from being manipulated by other people. Oftentimes, we can't even think for ourselves. We give that over to other people because we don't know what to say. We don't know what to do because we've been conditioned. Oh my God, we've been conditioned to please other people, and what we feel and what we believe, somehow it doesn't matter. Can anybody relate to where I'm going? And the more we conditioned to please other people, hoping that they will become what we need, we continue to get let down, and it becomes a vicious cycle until we learn how to set the boundaries. Make sense so far? I think setting boundaries, you all, really put us in the driver's seat of our own lives. And if we're honest with ourselves, we can probably say at one time or another, we were not the ones driving. Somebody else was driving, we were just along for the ride. Didn't matter where they took us, didn't matter where we were going. We just, as my grandma would say, grinning like a chess cat. And still going along, not realizing how our lack of boundaries, how it was affecting us. I think unhealthy boundaries, we give up a part of ourselves. One of my new favorite quotes, it's amazing how we set ourselves on fire to keep other people warm. We burn to a crisp almost, trying to please other people. And when it's all over, there's nothing really left. Anybody got any comments about what I'm saying or questions? Maybe you have some with this. At the root of unhealthy boundaries is fear. It's fear. We are afraid that if we set boundaries, people won't love us anymore. We're afraid that if we set boundaries, they will decide that we're not worth it anymore. And so fear keeps us in a place of not being able to speak up for ourselves a lot of times. The root of all of our issues a lot of times is fear. But we are afraid that if we speak up, now the fear it's not imagined. There was a time we did set boundaries and it did hurt. Somebody did walk away and they didn't come back. We set boundaries and somebody did end up hurting us badly. We don't forget that. I think anytime you're hurt, this is ironic, you go on a lifetime quest or journey trying not to be hurt again. Anytime you're hurt and in pain, you work real hard to say, I will never be hurt in that way again. And somehow we're still attracted to the same people that will continue that. And we'll say, I'll put up with something. Something is better than nothing, even though it's hurting us. I think when we respond to life from a point of emotional weakness, we really let go of our integrity and we betray ourselves. And we betray ourselves, y'all get this, for emotional crumbs. Nothing but crumbs. We betray ourselves for the little drops of somebody's approval or the little drops of, okay, you are good enough. But at the same time, then I'm pissed off at myself because of what I've given up for these crumbs. There is a way that we can have more than a crumb. We can have a full meal. But the only way we can do this is by setting healthy boundaries, because if I get healthy enough, then I'm going to attract people that are healthy to me. Oftentimes, unhealthy boundaries, the people I have in my life are weak, needy, manipulative. That's all around me when I have unhealthy boundaries. And so if that's what you got going on, that's what you have, the unhealthy boundaries. So we've talked about how setting ourselves on fire to keep other people warm is an example of unhealthy boundaries. It's something that many of us probably do all the time, and it's something that we want to stop. And we've also talked about just how afraid we are of setting boundaries, because there were times that we set boundaries and it ended up hurting us anyway. And also we've discussed that if we have chaos in our lives, chaos indicates that there are no boundaries, and setting boundaries actually lead us, no matter how scary it is, to creating healthy lives. Because when we set boundaries, we become healthy and we attract healthy people. Next week, when we come back, we're going to put boundary setting in action. And it starts with a really scary word. 2 letters for that word that's really scary: no. When we come back next week, we'll talk about how saying no helps us to set boundaries that keeps us safe and keeps us okay. Thanks.